Hi, welcome to my channel. I got this lovely fabric from a friend with a demand to make an outfit, like a two-piece outfit for my daughter. So here we go. I made a ruffle sleeveless open side dress with a two-tiered skirt. This ruffled dress is more beautiful than it looks in camera, and my daughter loves it so much. So this is a beginner friendly sewing tutorial. It's straightforward. You don't really need much pattern to make it, and you could actually finish in a day. That's how easy it is to sew this. And forget I made it for my daughter, you could as an adult make for yourself. I created a pattern for the bodice only. To create a structure on the pattern, I drew lines at the top and side of the pattern paper. I started by marking the back waist length. Then I drew a line across. I marked the back width. Then I marked the neck. Then I connected these points. I made the armhole depth and included the shoulder slant and connected the lines. Next, I marked and connected the shoulder slant to the neck point. Next, I marked a quarter of the chest circumference, which is the fullest part of her upper body. I also added ease. Next, I created the armhole curve. Check my pattern making video to see how I create armhole curves. I marked 1/4 inch at the center of the armhole and also mark 1/2 inch on the armhole depth line. These points are guidelines to create the armhole curves. I have a lot of videos on that. From the armhole depth line, I drew a line to connect the chest point to the back waist length line to complete the top. To get the slim sleeveless, I readjusted the armhole and sleeve, and after cut out the bodice pattern. So that is it for the bodice pattern. This bodice will be used, I will use the bodice for the back pattern. So I'm using one piece for the front and the back pattern. I cut 4 pieces for the top, 2 pieces for the front and 2 pieces for the back because I'll be using it for the facing. I also left allowance while cutting. Now to cut the ruffle part of the dress, that's the top, I used double the measurement of the waist, the top waist, plus 5 inches to get a good ruffle. I want the ruffle to be adequate, not too much. On the fabric, I mark out the length of the skirt and the width. I created a little A line as I drew the line just to give it that flow. I left hem allowance, and so I cut 2 pieces for the skirts and 4 pieces for the top. Next, I cut the skirts. The skirt is just easy. I wanted 2-tiered, so I cut. I divided the skirt length into 2 equally. I divided it into 2 equally. I included seam allowance while cutting. Her skirt width is her hip circumference times 2 plus 5 inches, similar to the top. I also cut that A-line shape. Y for the second thread is times 2 of the first thread plus 5 inches. I included the hem allowance, so all this is just to create a ruffle. You have to double the width plus an additional 10 or 5 inches just to give that ruffle. It's time to sew the pieces together. I'm starting with the top. For the top skirt, I ran a basting stitch at the edge, then I dragged until it's the same as the size of the top waist. After doing that, I double folded the sides of the skirt, then pinned and kept it aside. Next, it's time for me to attach the facing to the main fabric. So I just place them right side together, then stitch the neck as well as the armhole. Then I didn't sew complete the side. I left little space because I'm going to attach the top skirt in a different way. There are different methods to attaching the skirt, but I decided to go for the hard method. Anyway, I stitched and then I sewed everything together with the skirts. Meanwhile, I've already prepared my rope, so while stitching while pinning I attached my rope to the sides. Next, I attach the top skirt to the top. So the different methods of doing this, so you just watch the way I attached mine. I didn't want the rough part of the skirt to show at the back. I wanted it hidden, so I just made it in such a way that it's not gonna reveal the rough parts at the back in case if it's very windy and the cloth is like everywhere. Next, I stitched. After stitching, I pulled out the ruffle, that is the inside through. I put it out through the side, then I stitched close the side. I used an additional rope because I wanted to tie the waist, so I used additional rope. Next, I attached the shoulders, right sides together, then stitch and hem the dress. So this is all for the top. The next sewing is the skirt. Next is stitching the skirt. The skirt is very easy to sew. It's almost similar to the top in terms of how I created the ruffle. So for the second thread, I just stitched the top because that's the only part that needs the ruffle. So for the second skirt, I ran a basin stitch on the top of the second and third skirt. Then I dragged to form the ruffle. Then I attached it to the first thread and stitch. So you can see it's very easy. Next, I double folded the top of the skirt to create a channel for the elastic. I pressed the fold because it was rumpled. I just wanted it to be smooth. After stitching, I left space to insert the elastic. Then I stitch closed up the space after inserting the elastic. The final step is hemming. I just hemmed the bottom of the skirt, and that is it. Like I said earlier, you can actually finish this sewing in a day if you're less busy. So if you have if you need more explanation, feel free to leave a comment and I will respond. Okay. Alright, thank you so much for watching. Do not leave without subscribing. Bye.